Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون ربنا سكر الذي بالكاف والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Sadid lisani nawir shanani safi amani wazir barai. Viewers from around the world, welcome to Echo from TOUBA, happening every Wednesday right here on Lamfal TV. But first, before we start, long life to the Khalif of the order, Sheikh Muntaha. May Allah help him with all the works he's doing, the university, all the tasks he's about to accomplish. May Allah help him finish them, inshallah. Salam to my Sheikh, Sheikh Murtada ibn Sheikh Abdul Ahad, but also Sheikh Mustafa of Sibikutan, all the friends watching from Boer, from New York, Miss Johnson, and everybody else, inshallah. Thank you for watching the show. Today we delighted to have some guests, though, variety coming from first, ladies first, though, from what's his name, Ecuador. Yes. We have Mam Jara, A.K. Salomon Baldibias. Visiting from Ecuador, of course, been here in Senegal for about 6 months. But also we have S.Fallou, also a.k.a. Raphael Albuquerque, visiting also is just about 2 or 3 months from Brazil, the soccer country. But also we have a friend of mine, and also really all along working with us with this particular show, Echo from TOUBA, Mr. Usman Ban, a teacher at the school in Chess called Darus Salam, meaning the city of peace. Interesting topic today, though. We're going to talk about globalism, the challenges of today's society. Well, what a beautiful idea to have people coming from different walks of different places, though, from Brazil, Ecuador, and over here, Senegal. But first, before we start, let's introduce first Mam Jara. Mam Jara, how you doing?
Yes, hello. Thank you so much, Mr. Fall, for the invitation. My Senegalese name is Mam Jara GAYE, donated by my parents in Chess, Mamadou GAYE and Noya Bot. I live in Chess City, and I'm working. I'm part of Global Citizen GAYE organization. So we are working in a friendship in Chess and working with Asian Radio. So we do a radio show for English lovers in Chess to help them, practice the language. I came from Riobamba, Ecuador. I forgot to say my Ecuadorian name. It is Salome Valdivieso. Yes. So I come from Riobamba, Ecuador. I studied there almost all my life, my middle school, and then I moved for the last 2 years to Norway to study in UWC RCN, Red Cross Nordic.
MashaAllah.
Yes.
What's the capital of Ecuador?
Sorry?
The capital city of Ecuador.
Quito.
Quito.
Yes.
Beautiful. We're going to turn to you, Mr. Raphael. S.Fallou.
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm Raphael Albuquerque, and the Brazilian accent's a little bit different when I pronounce my name, right? And I'm here in Senegal for 2 months only, and I wish I could have more time, but life comes, life calls. And I'm a volunteer teacher here. I'm teaching English, and I'm teaching also Portuguese, and I'm living with Usman Ban.
Mr. Ban.
Yeah, that's my surname here, and so I'm saying Salut Ban, and I'm really glad to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. Thank you so
MashaAllah.
much.
I'm going to ask you about your namesakes, though, inshallah, later on, meaning
Okay.
Sokhna Jara Busso, the mother of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, and S.Fallou, the great Sheikh, a Sheikh of mine as well. And Serigne Ban, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. All praise belong to Allah.
MashaAllah.
Peace and blessings of Allah be on the last Prophet Muhammad ben Abdullah, his families and companions. We, as Murid, we say first, Jerejef Serigne Touba, Jerejef Serigne Touba, and we pray to the Khalif to have a long life.
I mean,
so I would love to thank you for the invitation, S.Fallou. So my name is Usman Ban. I am an English teacher. I am working as an English teacher at Dar Salam Junior School. I live in Chess, especially in Medina Fall. And thank you for the invitation.
Medina Fall, the city of Sheikh
Yeah,
Ibrahim Fall.
Medina Fall, the city of Sheikh Ibrahim Fall. Medina Fall,
right.
Kër Sheikh, Kër Mam Elaj, Kausar Fall.
Beautiful.
Okay.
So salam to all the
okay.
Baye Fall community in Medina to Salam. Always watching Echo from TOUBA. Thanks again. Again, we're talking about globalization, which means right now the imbrication of all countries, one market, you know, social movement is going on. My first question is going to be to you, Mam Busso. Can you tell us about the state of globalism right now? Globalization, what happened?
Okay. In order to answer this question in a better way, I would like to define the difference between of globalism and globalization. So by Oxford, globalism means the planning of foreign and economic policy in a global scale. So we have, you know, organizations like UN, we have the European Union, UNESCO, all these organizations work on that field. Globalization, however, is the phenomenon of kind of like the result of globalism. So we see it in, is also define the speed, right, of how globalism is moving in this world today. And I could say that globalization is a big topic that concerns us a lot in today's society, because especially, you know, with things like internet, we are more connected than ever.
Right.
Communication is, you know, is faster and
yes,
and we also have economical policies and foreign policies that are allowing us to explore more the world, but as well creating a little bit of inequality around the world. So that's important to mention that as well when we talk about globalization and globalism.
Beautiful. Globalization and globalism, described here in terms of institution and an organization that is really running a show here called globalization. Can you add something to that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I think we can think that all the globalism and globalization is possible because of the development of the means of transport, the development of techniques, communication techniques, and that stuff. And that's why it's so the distance between people are getting shorter, and that's why it is possible. That's what I have to add.
Mr. Bands, a word on that?
Yeah, a word, because many people, they may have like a different definition of globalization. So as a definition, I may think that it can be like the act of process or process of globalization, the state of being globalized. Okay, especially, well, it might be as well the development of an increasingly integrate global economy. So we can define it as well like that as well.
Okay, this is a deeper definition we're going to go in to later on, because when we talk about globalism or globalization, there's always a social impact. You just point out about internet, how people are now connected. On the social impact of globalization, what is the size of it right now? How much people are impacted right now in terms of globalization?
Well, I think also when we talk about globalization, we think a lot about the big empires in the world, right?
Right.
US, Europe, sadly, wherever we want it or not, those countries are influencing all countries around the world. And I think nowadays a lot of minority cultures are being influenced by the westernization of these big empires. So sadly, as I mentioned before, you know, this is creating inequality, and a lot of people looks into this American dream, or this idea of how these big empowered countries are. Sometimes that's not the reality, and I think media portrays a lot of that American dream or European dream, however you want to say it. But I think as well, from my point of view, Ecuador, you know, we have minorities, indigenous communities. I think through media, that is a result of globalization, we can have again a voice inside of our communities, in the world as well. So yeah, as you said, you know, globalization has an upside down. It has pros and cons.
Right.
But for sure, I think we need to also pay attention when we are talking about a globalized world. We need to pay attention into the minorities.
To the minorities, right?
Yeah, the minority cultures, and also as well people who, you know, tend to don't criticize this system, just accept it, and then we create, you know, this migration crisis or trade wars or etc., etc., that is leading the world into more inequality.
Absolutely, that's the social impact of it, though, and then we'll understand that when we go into the economic impact of globalization. On the social impact, how much, like, you guys are coming from Brazil, this is already a social impact, though. Getting involved in many programs here. Tell us about, describe us a little bit about the social impact of globalization.
Yeah, the social impact, I mean, we focus a lot on bad things, but we also have to think that people now are closer. People are people who interpret well that phenomenon. They can feel like a family, and like, for example, here we have two Senegalese, an Ecuadorian, and a Brazilian people. We are talking like we were like friends since we were kids. I mean, and that's why I think it's awesome that we have a global language like English and that stuff. And the cultures are also getting more closer, getting closer, and it's awesome. But we don't have to forget about the minorities and the problems as well.
Right. Always have an eye on minorities, though. Of course. Mr. Ban, on the social impact, you should know something about it. Receiving most of the guests is coming from all walks of life. Social impact of globalization.
Well, the social impact, I think that it's really important and very useful, because I am receiving like many volunteers, and I know like many different nationalities. But what I think is it is very important and it is really insightful. The fact of learning from other cultures, the fact of meeting other people coming from other countries. So S.Fallou is from Brazil, Mam Diarra is from Ecuador. Well, we are like the same. We are like global citizen even. And well, even if we speak like a different language, she's speaking Spanish, he's speaking Portuguese, I am speaking Wolof, but we have like a language that help us to know, to understand each other, to have a mutual understanding, which is the English language. And it's very important, the fact of meeting together and understanding as well together.
Uniting ourselves, though, for the betterment of all of society. By the way, Mr. Ban, I also have a radio show in Chess called
E-Jang with Salome.
E-Learning. Maybe that's the translation of that.
As English, E as electronic, and Jang, which as is learning. A wall of as learning, which is a wall of
where also people from abroad are coming and then giving out their opinion of many different situations here in Senegal and of course abroad. Happy again to have in our show Mr. Raphael and aka S.Fallou, Mam Diarra, Mr. Ban visiting us today, and we're talking about globalization. If you just join up, brace up. We have another 35 or 40 minutes though for the show, and also visit our page on Facebook. Don't forget that. And please like that page.
Of course.
Spread the message. This show, which has a goal, is spreading peace, in the world by the teaching of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, our peaceful icon, our great Sheikh here from Senegal, that people need to know, to understand how much he contributed to the development of society. We talk about social impact. Now we're going to go into the cultural impact, though, because we see any country has a cultural span, something to offer. In America, they have the music, rap music. They have all these kind of cultural aspects of things going on. In Senegal, we have lots of. I'm gonna let Mr. Ban and come out to it. If you go to Brazil, they have the famous samba.
Exactly.
All these
the Brazilian jazz.
We've seen that on the soccer stadiums, how they vibrate for teams. In what do you have in like on aspects of cultural thing?
In Ecuador, well, we have a really diverse cultures. In Ecuador, we have salsa in the coast, we
Right.
have Andes, Andinian culture in the the mountains. Then in the Amazon and part of Ecuador, we also have a lot of richness when it comes to indigenous language.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
On cultural impact now of what happened in globalization, how we should cope with that, with the wide range of offer that is in front of us.
First, we have to keep in mind that instead of just forgetting our own culture and just consuming the main culture, the global culture, we have to keep our culture. That's the point. And never forget that, oh, I can appreciate, I can enjoy, for example, the American jazz, I can enjoy the Wally Seck, for example, here in Senegal, but I can't remember, I have to remember to listen to, for example, bossa nova, samba, which are Brazilian rhythms. That's what I think. I mean, we cannot forget our own culture and, like, for example, only drink Coca-Cola, for example. We cannot drink a soda, American soda, and that stuff. That's the point. We have to I'm gonna say that, I would say, like, we have to promote our own culture besides the
before you embrace other
exactly
cultures. That's important, and
that's
it's
important.
going to help save also that
exactly
culture that is
exactly
another
our
part of the
roots,
world.
definitely.
Of course. Cultural impact, what do you your take on that?
Yes, well, I think when we talk about cultures, we are more attached to the idea of nation, right? So we're talking about nationalism and globalism, and I think in today's world, you know, we're pretty debated, like red or blue, nationalist or globalist, but I think now we can be both at the same time. And as S.Fallou was saying, you know, I think that education, intercultural education, is key in today's society because we are connected. We cannot, you know, deny that fact.
Right.
And I think globalism also should, you know, people who define themselves as globalistic or global citizens, as myself, I think we need to take into account that also minority cultures are important and relevant in today's world, because every culture, every language, even though it is a minority, they tell a story, and that's the story of the world itself. We, by our nature, human nature, we come from migrants. We were nomads, so that's part of our global culture, you know. And I think when we sometimes when we let a Western culture take upon our minority cultures, we forgot the importance of this. And I think it's really relevant to hear, you know, people from the elder people from our communities telling our stories that will replicate in the world as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is well, certain institutions like the UN or UNESCO is really doing some good works on that, in safeguarding all these heritages of cultural heritages of different societies in order for other generation to take advantage of that, of course. So minorities really have to be kept in mind in order to really safeguard what they offer. Globalism in terms of culture, Mr. Ban.
Yeah, in terms of culture, I think that it's very important because I may join them in terms of like loving our cultures. Okay, I am a Senegalese. So I do really love my culture because I know that my culture can is an example. I have like many things in my culture that I can share in the world. In Senegal, whenever you have like foreigners, whenever they come in Senegal, what they first feel is the fact of like hospitality, our teranga. People, they really love our teranga in terms of when you come, you are like a son or you are like a daughter in a family, and then people, they really love you. They really show you that even if you come from elsewhere, you are like part and parcel of the country. And in our culture, we have like different things that we can share with other people. Wherever you are, a Serer or a Jola, or wherever you are, a Tukular or a Manding, you have like in your culture something that you can give to other people, something that you can share with other people. It's not because you are from Senegal or you are from Africa that your culture is not valuable. Your culture is very interesting, and then it may help many people to learn the world and to learn as well how the world should be. I think whenever people they were here in Senegal, we won't have any problems, because here in Senegal people are always smiling, people are always joking. You see how things are moving between a Serer and a Jola, between a Njai and a Job, between a Sen and someone else. Things like are really interesting. I think people should like behave like a Senegalese, or take Senegalese culture, some manners of Senegalese culture, and give it as an example in many other countries as well.
On top of that, Raphael, can you tell us, you talk about the link between, first, is there many ethnic groups over in Brazil?
Actually, no. Actually, each region, each state that we call in Brazil, each state has its own way of speaking, but it's always Portuguese. We just change the meaning of some words and some slangs, but there's mostly one culture. One culture over there.
Okay, is there cohesion between those different types of...
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for example, when you are in Rio, you call orange laranja. If you go to the north, they call it macaxeira. And that stuff, I mean, that's the difference. But
all right, we're going to come back when we talk about the Amazon forest on that situation. On that, tell us about Ecuador. Is it this, first, like I said, many ethnic groups over there?
Yes, we have indeed many cultures in Ecuador. We have, I was mentioned before really briefly, we have the coast, the Cote of Ecuador, when we have actually a lot of African Ecuadorians, because, you know, colonialism brought a lot of slaves into America. So a lot of African settlements can be found in the coast of Ecuador. Then in the Andes we have a lot of Quichua indigenous communities and Puruá indigenous communities. That's the part where I'm from. And we have the Amazon part, where we find a lot of Shuar indigenous communities. Everyone shares, you know, we have same nationality and we share a lot of cultural aspects. However, there are uniques in every indigenous group. Indeed, in between the Quichua communities, for example, you can find diversity. So
diversity on that.
Yeah, on that. And and there has been a lot of repression historically towards indigenous communities specifically, because, you know, with colonization, the arrival of the Spanish people, we were stigmatized, indigenous communities were left behind. And it's not until recently that we start, you know, being proud of our indigenous background. And I think that's really important to bring back into our generation.
Do they have an indigenous president over there yet, or?
No. The first actually indigenous president in Latin America is Evo Morales in Bolivia.
Bolivia, right.
In 2018, we had a president that recognized Ecuador for the first time as a multicultural and multi-diverse nation. However, all of our presidents have been either Spanish or
other countries,
or mestizos. Or mestizos.
How about Chavez? Chavez wasn't indigenous?
Chavez is from Venezuela.
Is he from? Well, I'm saying, well, in Latin continent of.
No, I think for what I know, he was mestizo
he was
as well.
Right. That's right. There's a lot we can learn from every country. In Senegal, there's much we can learn about the non-conflictual relationship between, like he said, Mr. Ban, a teacher as well, relationship between Serer people of Alpular, all these ethnic groups living peacefully for hundreds and hundreds of years. And this happened because each group have some respect for another, for the other group, respect in terms of their heritage, their way of life, their languages, and not criticize people all the time. And also on cultural impact, what we have to offer, we cannot say anything bigger than Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, Khadim Mustafa. Really, what he brought in this society is really a humongous cultural offer. If it's on the sound bite side, you can relate to the Hasidish, the songs that has been he wrote all these, the book he wrote, and also the sounds from his Hasidah. That is something that the world had to discover. But also the coffee TOUBA. You guys
Definitely.
had the taste of coffee TOUBA?
Yeah, it's an acquired taste.
Is it you like
yeah,
it?
yeah, I like it. At first, I didn't like it, but it's an acquired taste now.
Then
Yeah.
you're getting used to it. You like the coffee?
Every morning.
Every morning.
Yes, actually,
all right.
my aunt, Mam Fatou, but she makes my coffee every
beautiful,
morning.
beautiful.
Hi to Mam Fatou, if you are listening to me.
I think I'll save you that question though for on coffee TOUBA. It's a beautiful taste though. All this is a cultural, you know, plus on that every society really can use and really disseminate around the world. We talk about social impact. We talk about also the cultural impact. Now we're going to talk about the economic impact of globalism. Of course, globalism and globalization, which is a link like she described before though, companies are heading to many places though, investing, making money to get it short, and all this is going to impact, of course, the society they find, you know, over there. The state of economic situation right now of the world, where there's a lot of problems happening, trade wars, Brexit. Can you tell us about right now there's a diverse summit in Switzerland where people are gathering to reevaluate and then make plans for future investment in the world. The economic impact of present time, the planet. Can you tell us about it, Michel?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the first consideration I have to make about it is that that economic dynamic is a little bit tough for a country to face it alone. So that's why many countries are closing themselves in blocks. For example, the European Union, we have the South American one, I forgot the name of the block, if you could help me.
NAFTA?
Mercosur and that stuff. So that's why the countries are closing themselves. Yeah, and after in the Brexit, we have this, unfortunately. But that's the first impact that the economic dynamic and the globalization has.
As countries are getting together in order to have much more power.
Exactly.
You know, influences in the world. Usually, when they do that, it's to compete against the U.S. or to compete against China. Or but are they doing well right now in terms of competing with?
Yeah. Actually, they are competing, but they also they are not always competing. They are protecting themselves because the economic in that these countries are really strong. And if you let just the market works, something really bad can happen in your society. For example, unemployment in mass and that stuff.
Right. Mr. Ban, I'm gonna on that type of the type of question I'm gonna ask you is like he said, some countries are getting together, making one uniting in order to protect themselves. How Africa is doing? Because it's still African Union. I don't think they, you know, there's a good job that's been done.
It's a problem. I think. I really and strongly believe that togetherness is power. Whenever African people they are united, well, I think that they can move forward. They can do great things. Okay, they just open their market to other people, other countries. But I do not see like African countries getting together and try as well to go through other markets and like going through European markets or American markets or anything like this. But I think African countries, they should like know the power they have and then try to be together.
All the resources.
And the resources we have and everything that we have, we should make it into a powerful thing.
Is it because superpowers that does it like France?
We
colonize Senegal, Ivory Coast, still not really having a big impact on
it's
holding
a very
them?
big impact. It's like a kind of, I may say, complex as well. I into bracket make my students and telling my students, you will now never be an American. You will now never be a French. You are a Senegalese. You born a Senegalese. You can be very open-minded, very open to other cultures, but you should be very rooted in your culture. And then what you have in other countries, you just take the positive things and then you keep those positive things in. But we also as African, we should like try to go by ourselves. We should try as well to the complex that we have through like other countries. We shouldn't do those.
You think that does exist? It's because I see some very young, bright kids in you know, I meet in here in the country, for instance, and many other African countries. You see, they very young minds, very bright, very entrepreneurial. But it's like they're not on top. They're not the government. You know, other people are coming and then really holding them from expressing themselves. Isn't that? I don't know what avenues they can use to better that. But you know, I stop blaming them.
Yeah, things start to change because we have now a new mentality, African new mentality, and an African new like new kind of young man, okay, and young ladies in African countries. And I think that things started to change.
Changing, right.
Okay, and then I hope that there will be change.
Well,
because,
most of these countries have been independent since the 50s and 60s.
Sure,
it's about time really to move on and stop blaming people. You know, you know, to look at your front door. Economic impact. Mambuso, Sokhna, Salome.
Yes.
Baldini.
Valdivias.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your memory is short.
Yeah, no, actually I would like, when it comes to talk about economically, I would like to, you know, just mention that I'm not an expert on the topic. I just know general common knowledge. But to mention, I think that a lot of like globalization when it comes to economical terms has to do a lot with colonization. You know, we have
that I agree.
Yeah, like here as a visitor, you know, I cannot talk much about Senegalese case, but you know, you have the francs that are money produced in France, and as well in Ecuador, we are dollarized. We're in a dollarized country, and I think when it comes when this, you know, globalized world, we talk a lot about trademarks, right? When people are doing exportations and importations in order to keep the economics flowing. But we are talking about here fighting superpowers, right? So for instance, right, Ecuador wants to do a trademark with, I don't know, let's put an example of Spain. We know that alone we cannot compete with a country like Spain because of the colonized past we had, you know. Colonizations came into our countries and took all of natural resources, you know, and we still have a lot of presence of these colonizers into our homelands, right? Even if it's not Spain, it can be US, China, etc. So in order to compete, I think I resonate with one of my co-hosts was saying here, we need to unite. All these more nations, Latin America can have a lot of powers once we are united in order to fight these super potents, right? Because it's really risky when there is a metropolis of economics around one nation, because you know there creates a lot of inequality within a country, but as well globally. And now we are talking about, you know, nowadays we are talking about 6 people in the world who possess more than 50% of richness than other people in the world, you know. We are talking also about people who is like dying literally for not having anything to eat, but people who is, you know, having all luxuries and don't caring about what is happening in the other side. So I think that's something that we really should take into account when we are talking about politics. So yeah, I think economics and politics really related, right?
Right. And on that particular topic though of economic, there's also some side effects in terms of immigration. People now are feeling not having everything they supposed to in their own country, and then they're traveling just like in Africa. They say there's a term they use saying Barça or Barzak, meaning Barzak means the intermediary life, going to Barcelona or being dead literally. So this is a really huge impact though in terms of immigration. What happened if you go to the border of the US, there's people, you know, flooding over there trying to enter the US. I'm sure in your own countries they're having that, you know, problem. Is it a bad effect of globalism?
Yeah, definitely it is a bad effect, because I mean people they are, it's fair their desire to look for a better life, but they have to keep in mind that if they are poor, they are not prepared, they can't get a good opportunity in their own country, they probably won't get it in another one. Especially because these countries they are a little bit hostile to these new people.
Right.
I mean with xenophobia and that stuff. So I think that, for example, if you are you work in a house like a housekeeper, and then you're gonna go to another country, you're gonna still working as a housekeeper.
Right, right.
Don't expect like you're gonna become an entrepreneur just because you're in American ground. So
right.
that's why I think they have to keep in mind.
But also those countries, sometimes they have a reason to get scared though, because there's not enough economic power. They don't they don't have all the means, and when they see a lot of people coming, first it's a like sensation of scare.
Yeah, exactly.
That really happened to my understanding. On that, Mr. Ban, with the flux of immigration right now, you see people, young Africans leaving this continent for Europe and America. Is it the side negative effect of
it is among
globalism?
Other negative effects, because I think that youth over here, they think that they may have a better life whenever they go outside, or they may have like a better salary whenever they go outside. But I think in your country, if ever everyone go to the US or to Europe, who will build this country? I think that this country can be built only by the young generations, by their citizens as well. I think that they shouldn't take even risk to go to Europe, like going by boat or going on the route from Niger or Libya or things like this. I think that they should all try, even if immigration is not a bad thing, but even if you try to go, please try to go in a legal way. And then if you go, you have just to learn from there. And if you have something, you can bring it to your country, because this country needs the expertise of other countries and everything coming from there. But I think this is among the other negative effects, but I think that maybe change will.
Absolutely, Mr. Ban, and especially when a lot of oils have been discovered in Senegal. I don't know how they're gonna do that. There's gas and oil, recently petrol discovered in this country. So youngsters need to get trained.
Yeah, for sure.
You can just go and learn a courses that really teaches you how Europe is, the mountains of France. I mean, enough is enough. It's been, learning for 40 years. I think it's ridiculous. You have to train yourself to be able, a capacity to do something positive. And since there's that much, I think, money is going to be flowing in this, flooding in this country because of the resources of oil, it's really time to sit down and replan the education system in this country. Well, that was my opinion. The impact of globalization, with the effect of immigration, people living in other countries. And if you see CEOs making a lot of money, multinationals really investing, taking all resources of other countries, is it really a reason why these people are living because they don't have nothing to live with?
Well, yeah, I would call migration not a bad effect or a result of globalization. I would call migration a result of inequality within a country.
Right.
I think, we as human beings, we have been migrating since we are human beings. So we cannot defy the fact that, people will keep moving around the country. Of course, now we have a phenomenon of a lot of migrants looking for, these more successful lives in America, and I put it between quotations because what really does success mean. Right. However, I think that it is a lot coming with multinationals, maybe a bit, but multinationals hire people from the country itself. Right. I would call it a lot of what we talked before, right? The perception of people we have about these countries, right? This idealized idea of the Western. And I think, if someone wants to go, we have people who wants to migrate, but also people who have to migrate. Right. We're talking about refugees, for example, that there are wars in their countries that they have to migrate. There we are talking also about, here in Senegal, we were talking in St. Louis with some fishermen from Gennard, the neighborhood, and he was telling us, there is nothing else to eat here. Then we have to migrate, it's a necessity. So I think, it is a really idealized idea of why we have to migrate, but as well it is a necessity, and I think Senegal has a lot of potential to, improve the economic opportunities from Senegalese people as well as Ecuador.
Right.
However, you know, it's really hard to deconstruct that societal idea that Western is better, you know. So I think Senegal and other countries around the world, like Ecuador itself, we should start working by then, you know, educating people that, you know, what does really success mean. Success in US is not the same as success in Ecuador or in Senegal. We have really this Western idea of having a lot of money, having a lot of material stuff, that sometimes that is not success for me, you know. So I think yeah, we should start deconstructing ourselves from that aspect.
Absolutely. I think most of the deconstruction is been already started though, with the, like you said, with the link in terms of internet and communication. These people understand that, you know, there's a lot, but it's more of a, I think, to my own opinion, the economic impact of society, because you can take a place that have resources, huge money under their feet, gold, diamond, and oil, and you name them, and then multinational come in and then get linked with a proper government, you know, exploit all that, and then still you go back to the same area. The people are living like just 300 years ago, like the same way they've been living. And then those kids, if they're not getting a fair share of that money, of that part, something's going to happen. I'm just saying, for the multinational or government to really look right to that situation, that would really help stop immigration. It's not about money you're giving them, but just you give them the opportunity. A place like Kedougou, where there's gold too, lots of gold, oil is coming. There's every other part, every place in Africa, you see that really under their feet. There's a lot of opportunities sitting, and then if it's badly exploited, of course, it's going to be something bad going to happen. Again, Echo from TOUBA every 2 weeks, right here on Lamphal TV. Proud to have our guest. This is like a planetary citizenship. You know,
global citizens.
Global citizenship. I like that, because youngsters now very smart. Really, there's no barriers in terms of intermingling with other society, open-minded, because of thanks to maybe internet, Facebook, and all. They have friends all over the places. Though a reason why we have Sohna Mam Jara today visiting from Ecuador. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name again. And also we have S.Fallou next to my friend Mr. Ben. All these problems we've just mentioned. By the way, you can follow us on Facebook. I forgot, and please push that like button. It's gonna help really the show in order for wider audience. Globalization. Right now, with the impact of it, is it not the cause of the rise of populism? Like in America, you see Donald Trump, who has a base, and who was doing what the base wants him to do, and also he's building a wall between America and Mexico. If the planet is building a wall right now, I believe there's a problem. And also in Brazil, I'm gonna come back to your country. There's Bolsonaro who got elected. Bolsonaro.
Can be.
There you
no
go.
Problem.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Bolsonaro who got elected, and he is a popular guy, also having this, sharing the same ideology with Donald Trump. Is it the political impact of globalism that really helped those guys to? Even I don't want to mention a lot of people in Europe, in Africa, who got elected because of the results of globalism.
Well, yeah, like sadly, a lot of the results. The results of inequality, of lack of education, put these people on power, that in my opinion I don't agree with.
Right.
So I think it's a lot of the influence. It is a global influence, you know, like I hear now a lot of people in Ecuador replicating many of the things that Trump has said, you know, and it is really dangerous, because when we don't have this really narrow perspective, we tend into, following the same trap. So I think also, actually in that case, international organisms can help us. Improving education, give us another point of view. We have the UN, right, that has intervened many times to, stop a country from having a war, had a lot of humanitarian aid. So of course it's the work of the country itself to, stop and educate people from having really dangerous, people on power. But I think, a result of intercultural education can lead us to understand better the values that we want to see in our next generations, and of course the values that we want to see people in power. However, I think that hate speech, media sadly is is involved in that fast speed of hate speech all around the world, and that's sadly something that we cannot stop. If you see in Facebook, is everywhere. Yeah, and sadly that's the situation. I think one of the solutions can be show intercultural education from a really from our young generations, and show us that the world is much bigger than our nationalist point of view.
If you think if there was a fair share of wealth over there in America or other countries, these guys will have the opportunity to get elected?
Well, we're talking a really complex economical terms here, because share of wealth, inequality, poverty, lack of human rights are really complex problems, and we need to go in depth for the causes and the effects of each one of those. However, I do think that inequality does support a lot of lack of human rights, and all these problems together make people have really, I will call it radical decisions. Yeah. And in this case, having to choose someone like Trump to represent a country, for me is a really radical and to some extent desperate idea of wanting to improve a country, or this idea of make America great again.
Absolutely. There you go. On the same line of questions, though, in terms of what help these populist leaders to get elected, is it the impact of economic?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when there's a crisis, people look for a person or a group or anything to blame. Exactly. For example, in Germany on the 1940s, was Hitler blamed the Jewish, and now in Brazil people are blaming a party, and that's awful because it allows people to put in the power, in the officer, a person who is not prepared for the function. And I mean, in that sense, I think that we are, I mean, mostly supported by the Trump's election, for example. Bolsonaro, he has a kind of point of view similar to Trump's. So I think that that's the impact of globalism. That's what I'm trying to show, that what happens in a country can happen in yours, and that's the awful thing.
It's happening in countries like France or
exactly,
Yellow Vest,
exactly.
Brexit, also
England,
British people thinking they're not well served in that community, so they want to break up. You can see all these problems happening in a lot of countries right now because of the economic inequality that we can really point out. Can you tell us something about that?
What I can say is that to my point of view, we do not really need narrow and closed mind leaders. What we need is very open leaders and very open-minded leaders, and we have the choice to choose our leaders. But I think that we should promote, and then we should have good leaders, so as they may really they won't be very scaring leaders and things like that. And what happened in other countries, I think we Africans, we should also try to see how we can have now good leaders. I don't talk about a leader who is here from 1960 till now, or a leader who is here on power from 2, 3, 5 terms. Okay, I think that we should have good leaders who would know all about democracy, would know all about liberty, would know all about the problems of society. So that is what we need, but we don't need such kind of leaders. I don't want to point a name or to say some names over here, but I think that we really need good leaders, and it's up to us, we youngsters, to choose good leaders, because what we can show in a good leader is in us. It is in many leaders or many youngsters over here. So don't let now, okay, political things, or don't let now, okay, political aspect to some politicians or some professional politicians. I think that we should be involved in many things in our communities or in countries, so as we may be as well the leaders we need as Talibe of Serigne Touba, as Talibe of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, as Talibe of Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Fall, or as Talibe of El Hadji Malick Sy, and as people like that. So we should be like the leaders we are, and for our countries and African countries, we need good leaders.
We need good people to do the right job. Well, I have a lot of hope though for youngsters right now, like Mambuso and Mr. Raphael, S.Fallou visiting, and many others I've met though. Bright mind, young, energized, you know, who have a lot of, you know, faith in what they're doing, and that's what the situation the world read now. It's one planet. If it hurts on one side, believe me, it's going to hurt on the other one. That's going to be a perfect transition, though, talking about environmental issues, because this is going to be an impact, of course, though, in terms of globalism. The head of Donald Trump just pulled out a while ago to the Paris contract. He's not really worrying about what Paris, or, well, all those countries are doing right now, going on its own, and seeing the shape of the world right now. We're not really, you know, in good terms. And the Quran said already, "Darul fasad fil barri wal bahri bima kasabat aydi nas." The world will be destroyed. How? By the hand of the people. What they do not the animal. He didn't. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say the animals. He didn't say, no. He said the people. The people are destroying the environment. The environment effect of globalism right now. We're seeing the results. It's getting too hot now in Africa, which is used in December. All December used to be very cold. I'm sure it's the same impact in many other countries. It used to rain the whole month of August. This past month of August, for the first time we remember in the history of Senegal, not even once of no water in the country. So from us on the side, we're seeing right now firsthand the effect of environment by the work of all these multinationals working in these countries, but you know, who don't want to take responsibility. What do you think of that, Mambuso?
Yes, I think, well, globalization, and I was mentioning at the beginning, has pros and cons as well, you know, in every lens, specifically environmental. So in one side, you know, we have the effects of capitalism, right, brought by imperialist multinationals from really powerful countries like US, when it comes to, you know, Amazon rainforest that we share with Rafael in Brazil, in Ecuador, trying to take out the resources and, you know, don't really appreciating a lot of culture that there is. We were talking about minorities, the land of indigenous people. But in the other hand, we also have international attempts to protect the natural resources of every country, right? Where you were mentioning the Paris conference that sadly US take out. But those are international, you know, organisms that can help us to preserve our nature, you know. And I think also when we talk about globalization and environment, I think then we have a really key point of hearing other cultures. You know, for example, for long years, we haven't heard indigenous communities when they told us, you know, take care of the nature. We are connected once with the nature. But now we are seeing the struggles of environment, you know. The levels of the sea are rising, global warming is destroying, many species are being lost. Then we realize that indigenous communities from the beginning were right, you know. And I think now globalization through global media, or, you know, different medias, has helped us to hear indigenous communities and other people that take care of the environment, as well as, you know, creating organizations that can allowed us to protect the national resources all around the world, but also in every country.
Absolutely. For the environmental effect, though, right now in by the coast of in the seas of around the line of Senegal, there's practically no fish. It's empty because of the impact of the environmental. I'm sure Mr. S.Fallou, Raphael will add something on that. In
Yeah,
terms of, the
sure.
Amazon forest, it goes across how many countries? Just Brazil and
Yeah, no, Brazil, Ecuador. There are some other countries like Bolivia,
Colombia, Venezuela,
Venezuela. Anyone else?
Colombia, Venezuela, I think Peru,
Yeah, Peru.
Ecuador, and
Yeah, many countries.
Are they sharing?
Yeah.
They sharing the exploitation of it, the security of it, or is this one country who take care of most
it
of it?
would be the perfect word, but no.
It's not happening.
Each one
Each country
takes
takes
care of
own
its
part.
own, its own frontiers, and we
Is it in
don't
good shape
care.
right now? The Amazon forest
Sorry?
is it in good shape. The forest itself.
No, it was better.
It was better?
Yeah, it's been better.
Right.
But I mean, the point is that we have to find sustainable ways to progress. Okay, so we cannot think that the natural resources are like infinite. We cannot think about it. So the point is sustainability, and we do not act like that. That's the whole point.
Okay, so hats off to all the environmental organizations, though, Greenpeace, Global Nature, all these good guys getting together really to improve our environment. Like I said, there's many problems right now. I don't see right now better task than working for environment. Everything we're saying is okay, but in Wolof we say balangani nam never. Before you say yes, you have to be there first. That's what you're learning the Wolof thing. That's a line for you. Balangani nam never. Can you say that?
Wahatan?
Balangani nam never.
Balanganina never.
Never. There you go.
Never.
Before you say yes, you have to be there first. So that means environment. If you don't work, we don't work properly for environment.
For sure.
We're putting everything in jeopardy.
Sure.
On environment, you've seen firsthand what's happening in Africa, though. How the calamity. Can you tell us about the environment?
Yeah, it's devastating. Even it's really scary as well. Whenever I see like multinationals coming in Africa and cutting trees. So we had like a kind of a beautiful forest in through the Casamance and other part of Senegal, but now you
the
see
south of Senegal,
yeah,
right.
the south of Senegal, and then you have seen that now trees are cut and sold in many countries, like in China,
The Asian
like
Chinese people coming in by the
countries,
border of Gambia,
by
right.
the border of Gambia as well, and then we have seen as well. We have like many effects as well of global warming as well. You said it a while back. We stand like a month without having a good raining season. People were really afraid of having a good raining season. We have seen now how things are going on and how things are going on, and then the consequences of global warming and everything like this. So I think that it's time to protect our environment.
Absolutely.
It's time as well to go green as well.
I think issues of environment have to really be brought up, and then especially government can help. Every other school make a little garden, teach the children how to plant tree, how to preserve them. You know how all this can be done. There's nothing more important. I think I'm saying it is loud, right?
Sure.
Nothing is more important than environment. We got 4 minutes left, guys. We're going to be our last topic in this debate, though, globalism and the challenge of it. Everything we've mentioned from top down, we need proper education. If there's no education, all this will be just like a house of cards. Education, what youngsters right now should really do to improve their education system, to know that education is the key.
Go away and explore new countries.
Beautiful.
Myself here,
Right.
I am in Senegal to learn about Senegalese culture that has so much to teach around the world.
Right.
So I think exploring new cultures, open your mind, as we were mentioning, think critically as well about the traditional paths that we have gone in education.
Beautiful.
And that's my message also for young people that are here to me.
Beautiful. And the best you've learned since you came to Senegal?
Oh, the best I learned. Well, I need to thank my family, Mamadou, Gaye, Noya Borch, if you are listening to me, my little sisters, Anta, Mamjara, Fatima, and my brother, Pap Gaye. They have taught me the importance of, people. And I think there is always something to learn all around the world. There is wonderful people, and all the teranga and all that love that I have received here, all the learnings from Serigne Touba that my father has passed on me really had taught me a lot of how, you know, the values that I share in Ecuador that I thought they were only Ecuadorian, I can see really reflected on Senegalese culture.
Beautiful. And I suggest you to get some of these books though. His books, some certain books are translated, so you'll have firsthand what the Sheikh is writing.
And inshallah we'll go to TOUBA as well.
Inshallah, you'll come to
Yes.
inshallah.
Yeah.
Since you came to Senegal, what you've learned in education on top of that?
Yeah.
What youngsters of this generation?
Yeah, I
need
mean,
to know?
in the same way as Mam Jara, I have to say that to the youngsters, travel. You have to know other cultures, because there's a thing that we say in Brazil is that if you don't look the world with your own eyes, you're not gonna know it the right way.
Right.
Okay. So you have to travel, and since I've got here in Senegal, the thing that I learned the most is how to treat a human being. It's beautiful how you know how to treat other people, and that's something that the Westerners had forgotten. So that's what I've learned. That's the contribution that Senegal had in my life.
Right. And Mr. Ban?
Yeah.
From getting the people from away, what do you learn about education? What you know right now? What youngsters need to know?
Yeah. What I should tell them, what I can tell them is education is all. If you are educated, whatever you are in a Dara, whatever you are in a French school or a regular school, go and learn, because what makes the difference between an animal and a human being is in education.
Right.
So go and learn, go and study, and it is what you should do. And I think education is like the key of everything. Yeah.
Absolutely, Mr. Ban. And they usually say that what makes a personality of a person is not really how much money he has in his pocket, but how much knowledge he has in his mind. There's a lot of countries offer, like I talked to Mam Jara before, but the best this country has to offer, really, Isha Ahmadu Bamba Khadim Rasul, a unique personality, an icon, and that I really, guys, suggest you to go and learn his writings first, though. Understand who that man, what was his purpose, what he wanted to do. But if we live in cohesion, in peace in the world, we can together achieve everything we want to achieve. And then we cannot do it without any respect for others, and stop having judgment of the first one who goes around you, and understanding that Allah created everything. He's the owner. He's the only one that dominates everything, and He's the only one to be worshipped. We heading to the end of the show. It's been an hour already. So Alhamdulillah. Your salam alaik. Your shout out to before we close.
Yes. I would like to say
your parents over here in
to my parents. Yeah, as I said, you know, sama yai, sama bai, sama rak, anta Mam Jara, Fatima.
That makes Senegalese say bye from now on. Stop saying papa. Huh?
Yes, and my tante, Mam Fatou, as well as my staff members that thank to Global Citizen Year. I'm here in Senegal. Claire, James, Makumba, Abde, thank you so much for opportunity of learning.
Beautiful.
And all people in Senegal has crossed up around me has been just a great source of education.
Absolutely.
Usman as well, working with Ejan Radio, and we have also webpage, so follow us in Ejan Radio.
I'll be
Facebook
following that
webpage.
show. Very interesting in chess, though.
Thank you so much.
Jang. Can I have a jërëjëf Serigne Touba?
Jërëjëf Serigne Touba, jërëjëf Senegal.
Jara
Senegal
Lakke, man,
rafet na
beautiful.
torop.
So I would like to thank Usman for the opportunity, his family, my host family here. I would like to thank them all. I would like to thank my parents in Brazil. I would like to thank all the people who crossed for me during my stay in here, and jërëjëf Serigne Touba.
I appreciate that. Your salam alaikum.
My salam alaikum, I may say, I would love to say thank you for the invitation, for giving us the opportunity to show that
we kind of partners now, right?
Yes, the world is unique.
The
world is unique, and then people should be like together. So I would love to thank as well the population of Medina Fall. I really love the population of Medina Fall. I really love the population of Thiès. So I say hello to my family, my mother, my father. Okay, to say thank you to Serigne S.Fallou for coming here in Senegal, especially in Medina Fall, and then for Mam Jara as well for being here in Senegal and loving so much Senegal as well. I say jërëjëf Serigne Touba, jërëjëf Serigne Touba.
Jërëjëf Fallou for the invitation as well.
My pleasure, my pleasure, of course.
I really appreciate
and
that.
also thank you for coming. Thank you, Mr. Ban, who is really a partner for Echo from TOUBA. All these videos, inshallah, will be uploaded on YouTube, but also on Facebook, on my page. Don't forget to hit that like button. Is going to help spread again the word, a window of opportunity, Echo from TOUBA, for the teaching of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, for the world to be better, for the world to understand who this personality is, how he worked hard to achieve what he has done here, for not for Senegal, not for African people, but for humanity that belongs to one Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. Jërëjëfati Serigne Touba. Jërëjëf lakki Mame Cheikh Ibrahima Fall.
Le programme suivant sera en anglais.
رنا سكر الذي بالكاب والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون رنا سكر الذي بالكاب والنون ما شاء يفعل من بعد ومكنون